Good morning, Jackson, Mississippi, and all surrounding areas. You have tuned in to the free-range human show of choice. Your daily dose of reality radio starts now. Or should I say, the Ultra MAGA supporter show of choice.
Wow.
Oh, good morning, Jackson. Good morning, Therese. It's good to see you.
Good morning.
You've had a whirlwind week.
It has been a whirlwind, yes. But I'm glad to be here this morning. I made it.
We're glad to have you. You've been in our prayers. You know, I know you lost your friend Dustin, and your funeral was yesterday. And I want to just jump straight into the stuff with Dustin here. Sure. Good morning, everybody. If you want to call in, the Mack Hike of Flowood, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram phone line is 601-879-0002. The text line is 769-241-1944. To your friend Dustin Barnes.
Yes.
He was a reporter here for the Clarion Ledger at one point, and then he moved up to Nashville doing some work for USA Today and stuff.
Right, right.
And I guess he was a huge Mariah Carey fan.
He was the biggest Mariah Carey fan because as he came up as a teenager, he lived in Calibiot and went to Kossuth High School, and that's a very small place.
Is that in Mississippi?
And, yeah, it's up in North Mississippi, like right up there, right at the Tennessee line.
My North Mississippi geography, I'm terrible at.
I'm only good at it because I lived in Holly Springs for a little while. But yeah, so he, as a teenager, he came across the song Hero by Mariah Carey. And just, became obsessed. It kind of gave him something to latch onto, and he felt seen. And so he became this big Mariah Carey fan. And, every album, it's like he would harass us weeks ahead of time. Like, she releases on such and such day and all this. And we're like, Dustin, like Mariah Carey, really? Well, the thing is, I didn't have a thing one way or the other about Mariah Carey until one day Dustin decided he was going to pretend he didn't know who Eddie Vedder was because he didn't want anybody to know how old he was. He had this thing about not wanting to tell people his age, but he would say, I'm celebrating my anniversary. And so we just didn't, until the day he died, I did not know how old Dustin was. But
how old was he?
He was 38.
Okay.
Yeah. So in the end, he went to all the shows and he bought all the albums ahead of time and he posted about her on Facebook, and she had liked one of his tweets one time or something. And that was the background on his Facebook page, like just super, super fan,
Yeah, like I'll never mess with anybody about being a super fan. I mean, it is no secret that I am Poison's biggest fan. And I've probably seen Bret Michaels and or Poison in concert no less than 100 times between the two of them, and just got my tickets for the July 3rd show up at Silver Star.
Yeah, I'm going too. My friend Beth and I are going. She's a big CC DeVille girl.
Awesome. Yeah. Me and Crystal will be there. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm trying to decide if we're going to make a weekend of it. Well, it's on a Sunday, but I'm trying to decide if we're going to stay Sunday night.
Sure.
And come back Monday, or because Monday's the 4th, I guess. So it's a holiday. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what we'll end up doing as well. Because once you get up there, you don't want to leave. It's like, it's party time.
Yeah.
Well, we were praying for you, and I hate to see Dustin pass on, especially at such a young age. And it always sucks to lose a friend. I went through a phase there over about 3 years where I lost, I want to say, 5 of my best friends. Sure. And whether it be a car accident or suicide or several other different things, just crazy stuff that happens over a lifetime. And, it's tough.
It's one of those things that I think what I'm really taking away from it, and when we get through with the sad part, we're going to talk about the tweet,
yes.
just to follow up. But, it's like Dustin was my friend that was always going to be there. Like we talked about how we were going to get adjoining rooms in the nursing home and we were going to terrorize everybody by racing wheelchairs. I mean, everyone has that scenario with their best friend, what you're going to do in the nursing home, right? So, I mean, it was just, he was always going to be, there was never going to be a life without Dustin. And all of a sudden, when you find out, like, he was literally one of my, top 3 best friends. And I have a missed call that I've not erased from my, home screen of him calling me that day. And I just remember being like, oh, it's Dustin. Okay, I'll call him back. And I didn't. And so what I take from that is that we need to be intentional about loving our friends, because Dustin was not going to let me go several days without talking to him. If it hit day 2 or 3, it was like, nope, he's on my phone, And sometimes knowing that I'm an introvert and knowing that I don't like the phone, he would do something like call, knowing that I wasn't going to answer, and leave a message that was like, Tress, I'm just calling to check on your feelings, because he knew I didn't want to talk about feelings. So he just always did these silly things, and we have so many stupid adventures and so many inside jokes that are now defunct because nobody else understands them, you know. So I feel like on the one hand, while those are the things that break your heart, they're also the things that make people unique in your life. And so my big takeaway from this is you don't know. I mean, Dustin did not live a high-risk lifestyle. You know, he was in his apartment. He was at work. You know, that was about it. But you never know what today brings when it comes to the people that you love. So my thing is, from now on, I care about people more intentionally and more, you know, I just keep saying I'm going to tell people I love them until it's weird. And that's that.
Then when it's weird, I'm turning it up a little higher.
Right, and then I'm going to make them really uncomfortable. But so the tweet.
Yeah, so I'll set it up a little bit here. Huge Mariah Carey fan, obviously. And after he passed away, I guess so many people tagged her in it that she made a tweet about him and added him posthumously. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you know, there's a story, and I'm going to tie this into heavy metal music fans here.
Sure.
Dimebag Darrell, you know, most people know of Pantera, got killed on stage. And his funeral was in Dallas. It was a huge spectacle. And Eddie Van Halen showed up to his funeral and put one of his legendary guitars in the casket.
Yeah.
And if you go back and watch the behind the music about Pantera that came out a couple years later, they're like, bro, you told Dime that he was going to get buried with the guitar from Van Halen 2 or whatever. He was like, kill me now.
Right.
You know, and I imagine that Dustin is probably like, you know, if he had known that Mariah Carey was going to tweet him after he died, he's like, kill me now.
Right. Well, and that's the joke that we were making is like, if Dustin wasn't in heaven yet, now he is.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll read this tweet because it was so thoughtful. It was not what you expect from a celebrity because usually it's like, oh, I hate to hear that my super fan has passed away. Much loved. Everybody loved him. That's what you expect. Mm-hmm. She says, after reading through the beautiful memories and anecdotes so many have shared about you, I wish I could have had my own conversations with you and experienced your effervescence for myself. Dustin, thank you for your love. I know you feel mine where you are. And then she tagged him. And what mega celebrity does that? You know?
Well, you know, the question I have, and it's awesome, the question I have is, was she looks at her mentions.
Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy. I don't.
No, I don't either. They're a toxic cesspool.
Right.
So, I mean, but I guess hers maybe isn't.
Yeah.
But she actually looks at her mentions or hashtags, or she found that somehow.
Sure.
And read through them and was touched enough to write something.
Right. Well, the other thing that gets me is, you know, when she says, after reading through the beautiful memories and anecdotes so many have shared about you, she studied him.
Yeah.
And that makes me want to cry just talking about it because Dustin was one of those guys that, I mean, the cliche is he'd give you the shirt off his back. But he was the most selfless person I know because his thing was, are you happy? All right, we're not even talking about me till you're happy. And to know that someone he admired that much actually spent that kind of time on him matters because when you're a selfless person like that, people take you for granted. And I hate to say it, I know that I did. I knew Dustin was going to take care of me. I knew he was looking out for what was best for me. There was never a time that I knew or that I thought Dustin wouldn't have my back. And all of a sudden when that's gone, you realize that I didn't thank him enough for that, you know, whatever. So to see Mariah Carey do that, you know, and also, Clay, you and I both have a platform. Does this mean that I should probably be better about reading my mentions? You know, I mean, there are probably people that, and I'm not saying we're Mariah Carey. That's not the point because somebody will call in or whatever. But the point is just those kind words made such a difference to everybody that loved Dustin. That was like the headline at the funeral, you know. So as people with a platform, what could we be doing that would make that kind of difference to somebody?
True. I did try to do something, and I don't want to make this about me here,
sure.
but you talking about using the platform. I did try to take a left turn the other day, and did you see the video over the weekend of the incident that happened on the interstate here in Jackson? There was a girl, I guess it was either Friday, it had to have been Friday afternoon or Saturday anyway. It was pouring down rain. It was Friday afternoon. It was pouring down rain. There was a traffic jam on 55 or 20. And a domestic dispute popped off, and the guy gets out, and he gets on the roof of the car, and he's trying to snatch the girl out, and the people behind it are live streaming it. And they get out and distract the guy, and the girl jumps in the car with them, and they drive off. I reached out to the girl that was filming. Mm-hmm. So I shared her video and got a lot of engagement out of it. So I reached out to see if she maybe wanted to come on the show today.
Sure.
Just call in and, talk about, I just kind of wanted to give her some attention. Right. So I thought what she did was really cool, and most people would have just kept filming and, no, girl, stay in the car.
Yeah.
They stepped up and did something. Well, I noticed on her Facebook page that she had a little fundraiser for her daughter to go to cheer school, and she's about to be a grad.
Yeah.
Over here, I think it's Provine. Don't quote me on that, but that she's about to graduate school and she needs money to raise money to go to cheer camp. I said, well, I got you.
Yeah.
So she was trying to get $5. I donated $25. I mean, it ain't a whole lot, but I wanted to just say, hey, thank you for being a good person. And then I shared it, and people blew it up. I don't know how much she raised, but
love that.
People blew it up. I'm like, hey, guys, this is the lady that filmed the video and helped save the girl. And she even showed me a screenshot, and I'll show it to you. But the girl messaged her and said, thank y'all. Y'all saved my life.
See, that's the kind of people we need people to be now, not these pissy internet, critics, like the people that just get on Facebook during the day to like tell somebody they hate their hair. Yeah. Well,
I will be Facebook jerk, but I try to balance it out with using the platform for good here and there. Because I know my brand too, and people like the snarky stuff and this, that, and the other.
And you use the right word when you say provocateur.
Yeah.
You stir the pot. And but that's different than like somebody that, like I had I had a guy that used to message me every time I would do a story on Jessica Chambers, and it would say, worst reporter and ugliest woman I've ever seen. He would send that like multiple times. And like, what's that guy got? What really, like, man, what are you coming to me with that you think that this is like getting you anywhere with anything in the universe? But, I'd say in your case, like, what you're doing. That's your brand.
Yeah. I mean, there's lines you don't cross.
Right.
And there's kind of walking the tightrope. And I've learned to walk the tightrope. People enjoy it. Even the anger addicts enjoy it because they stay on there arguing with people. Right. So I find it all fun and amusing, and it brings attention to stuff one way or another.
Right.
So, speaking of Jessica Chambers, I want to bounce into this because I think the next segment I want to talk about some of these mass shootings and the discomfort of race in this, the tough conversation of race in this country,
sure,
and whatnot. But the Jessica Chambers stuff, and for a guy that gets called a racist probably more than any other white guy in the state of Mississippi, here I'll take that crown.
Well, but there are actual racists.
But there's actual.
Yeah.
This is fictitious racism here.
Sure.
Because they don't have another word. Oh, you disagree with me, you're a racist.
Yeah.
Jessica Chambers stuff. I know that you've heard it a bazillion times where people say, well, she shouldn't have been, with the black guy or whatever. This is what happens. I mean, stuff real racists say.
That's the first.
Playing in the mud, playing with pigs, you get muddy. I mean, I heard all those nasty things. And that stuff never once crossed my mind. What crossed my mind was that poor girl burned to death and didn't die immediately.
Right.
It doesn't matter who the hell did it. They deserve to burn in hell.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. That was the first time that social media ever like touched me like that, because I saw just the extreme hate that was coming off people and the racism that I had never met before. That was the first time I saw it in the face because, up until recently, social media really became popular, people weren't like, your mama told you not to act like that. And so you didn't, because your mama would whoop you. Well, now our mamas aren't whooping us anymore because we've all gotten older, and now everybody thinks that, oh, I've got Facebook, I can say what I want,
Yeah, all right, we got a caller here. I think we got Derek on the Mac Hike of Flowwood phone line. Hey, Derek, you there, brother?
Hey, good morning, brother. I just wanted to say this real quick. I was watching the news, and I see the left, the alphabet media, and the left is trying to spin it to suit their narrative. And sooner or later, they're building up to blaming Trump and MAGA people for this whole thing. Well, first of all, blame your FBI, Joe Biden, because the guy had several red flags and was never even apprehended. He had been watched. So if anybody failed, the FBI failed, or these other Homeland Security and all this other stuff. So Bennett Thompson, don't you go flapping your gums because your department failed too. Because this guy had been on lists and files and watch lists, but yet was never apprehended. Now, then another thing I want to say, and Joe Biden's hit the Buffalo this morning to make that a political talking point, a cheap, disrespectful political point. Well, Joe Biden and all you black for a living Democrats, add this to your discussion. Joe Biden just approved $3 billion to go to Ukraine military, which will go to the Azov Battalion, which is what? A neo-Nazi group. So if you want, you point your finger back at Joe Biden, because, Clay, you and I both know that when that money gets distributed for the Ukraine military war effort, it will go to the Azov Battalion as well.
Yeah, but I want to say one thing, too. You made a point about Joe Biden going to Buffalo today, and I absolutely 100% think Joe Biden should go to Buffalo today. But why didn't Joe Biden go to Waukesha after that guy plowed through the Christmas parade? Is he going to go to Milwaukee for the 23 people and 3 that got killed outside the Bucks game the other night? It's so political. It's dirty. It makes me feel.
That's what I was getting to. It's a cheap political point. Now, you had all this other stuff happen, and he didn't even bat an eye. Not even when the guy barreled through those crowd of Christmas parade goers, killing children and things like that. They didn't bat an eye. They didn't call that a hate crime or extremist. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, again, both tragedies are unfortunate, whether it's the shooting in the Taiwanese church or the shooting in the grocery store. But what y'all got to understand something. It's going to get worse before it gets better, because people are evil. And when you start aligning yourself with a group, you're giving the powers that be what they want. I said it yesterday on the Kim Wade show, and I'll say it again. One thing that the powers that be understand, they can try to keep us separated, but one thing that blacks and whites have done since time in remission is that they stood together against tyranny. Whether that was the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, the fight against Pancho Villa, when we fought in the Philippines and in Cuba, you name it. We stood shoulder to shoulder against tyranny, and that's what they're really afraid of.
Exactly, brother. If we ever can put all the nonsense aside and stand together, there's a lot of folks I want in my foxhole that I disagree with politically, but I know when it comes down to it. I was looking on Facebook yesterday, and I get a lot of random friend requests, from black folks, white folks, Democrats, Republicans, the whole 9 yards. And what I look at when I accept a friend request from a stranger, like I saw a guy yesterday. He looked like he had on a bunch of jewelry, looked like straight out of a rap video. But I was looking at it, I don't know who he is, but I was looking at his Facebook profile, and he had a lot of pictures of him and his kids. I'm like, you know what? That's a guy I want in my foxhole. That's a guy that's taking care of his kids and his family. I approve the friend request. And I know that may sound silly, a friend request on Facebook, but we can disagree on a lot of things, and we probably do, and I'm probably stereotyping a bit, and I know I get it, but I was like, this guy's a guy that's taking care of his kids. He can be on my friends list. And at
the end of the day, is stereotyping really wrong?
No.
I mean,
we all do it. I don't want to be around no trash.
Stereotype may be an exception and not necessarily the rule. What I mean by that is this. I had somebody inbox me yesterday as well saying, congrats on your children graduating. I could tell you're an excellent father. I was like, wow, thank you. Because of the pictures that I posted with my daughter, and my daughter was able to intern with me at one of my many careers, which I'm not going to say which one that was because I don't speak for that organization. But, I felt real good to know that I was a part of her development, even further in the career field. So but like you said, to go to your point, when I get a Facebook page and if I see some stupid stuff on there, you posing with money, your bill money, like you actually making money, or you talking all this disrespectful stuff and you saying some dumb stuff, I'm going to summarily block you.
Exactly. Hey, Derek, we got to take a break, brother. I appreciate you calling in this morning.
Uh-huh.
Have a blessed one. Real quick, I got to say this before we take a break. I should have opened the show with this, but I wanted to make sure we talked about Dustin.
Mm-hmm.
My stepdaughter, Gracie, is graduating from Brandon tonight.
Good job, Gracie.
Congratulations, Gracie. Very proud of you. Congratulations to all the graduates, especially the ones out there in Brandon, since that's where I'm going to be this evening on the football field at 7 o'clock sweating.
Yeah.
While people are at the Dave Matthews show, I'll be at the graduation.
Right.
Frankly, I'd rather be at a graduation than have to listen to Dave Matthews.
I love Dave Matthews.
Not the biggest fan, but I'm kidding. For all the Dave Matthews fans attacking me. But look,
it's fine, Clay.
Congratulations to all graduates out there, man. I know it's tough, and you made it. Now the real fun begins.
Mm-hmm. And I want to say congratulations to Peyton Miller. He's my friend Beth's middle son, and he's graduating at Brandon tonight too.
Well, cool. Well, look, if you've got a graduate that's coming up this week, and if you want to call in and give them a shout out, I'm open to that. So 601-879-0002 is the Matt Kike of Flowwood phone line. You're listening to the Clay Edwards Show, joined by Therese Apel, darkhorsepressnow.com, and we'll be right back on 103.9.
America, you love your country, so it goes without saying that you also love your ride. And Auto Armor in Flowwood wants to help you make that ride shine. Auto Armor in Flowwood is Central Mississippi's premier automotive detail and ceramic coating shop, servicing any type of vehicle, including ATVs, boats, and more. Need just a quick detail or paint correction? Auto Armor can make it happen. But if you're set to hit the road in a blaze of glory while flying the old red, white, and blue, Auto Armor should be your first and last call to give your ride a full ceramic coating. Auto Armor is locally owned and operated by the loud and proud American patriot Clay Edwards. Auto Armor also proudly backs the blue, all military, and first responders. So don't forget to ask for your discount. Call 601-260-0858. 601-260-0858. Or stop in today, fellow Americans. Auto Armor is located at 4394 Mangum Drive in Flowwood. Online at AutoArmorMS.com. Auto Armor, unapologetically American.
All right, welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. We are live here on 103.9 WYAB and streaming worldwide at WYAB.com and on the TuneIn app. Just search WYAB. This segment is going to be brought to you by Watkins Construction and Roofing. A roof repair can cause you a lot of stress. Choosing the right roofing company to repair your roof is going to be very important. Most contractors will try to convince you that replacement is the only way to go, and that, my friends, is not the Watkins way. They believe in an honest assessment that doesn't necessarily mean replacement. Heck, in most cases, all you need is a repair. So whether you have a leaky roof, you need chimney roof repair, flat roof repair, roof water leak, shingle roof repair, metal roof repair, chimney flashing repair needed, Watkins Construction and Roofing is your go-to roof repair specialist. Give them a call today for your complimentary roof assessment at 601-966-8233 or online at watkinsconstructioninc.com. And they got one of the best commercials on TV right now. My wife loves it, and I actually sent Michael an email about it yesterday. It's their mascot. It's like a water drip.
Yeah.
And one of the guys in the commercial, Johnny Casada, which I've known Johnny for a while, is trying to sell a roof to a customer in the front yard there, and the drip or whatever its name is honking the horn constantly. And it's like that annoying drip.
Yeah.
You know, and he's like, ah, dang it. And he starts talking, he's honking the horn again, and then the guy in the costume is running off. Yeah. You know, wobbling off, should I say, and he's chasing after him. It's funny.
I haven't seen that one yet.
It's funny. And I sent him an email. I was just like, I said, when I first got in the car business years and years ago, I was working in the parts department. This was in the mid-'90s when Noel Daniels had the funniest commercials on TV with the puppet and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I'd asked Noel, I was like, what's up with the silly commercials? He's like, well, people remember that.
That's true. And
they do. And because still to this day, I remember Regardless and 1-800-530-7665 lead code.
Right.
And, it's still number burned in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, and it's like there are several jingles that I can remember from when I was a kid back in Nashville. So, I mean, like when I was just a little kid. But the other thing is, too, like sometimes they take funny and quirky into why. And usually those are the insurance companies. So you got Flo from Progressive, who I would like to punch in the face literally every time I see her. Most of the Geico commercials, the lizard is fine when they do the things like how much wood would a woodchuck chuck.
Well, the caveman ones were great.
They were great. Yeah.
That turned into its own TV show.
Right.
Which was a bit much. But
yeah, it was much.
But the commercials were great.
Yeah, and that's the thing, though. Like, you get these great commercials, and the pig that leans out the window, and wee all the way up, but then you end up with these ones that are like, oh, I can't even. There are some that are so bad, I just mute them,
The hump day.
Yes. Now, I like the idea, but that camel was the most annoying animal on TV.
It never went away. Oh, all right, man. Transitioning here.
Yep.
It's never easy, but I'll tell you what. Before we do that, we've got a caller here, and
okay.
I'd love to get a good phone call on the Matt Kike of Flowwood phone line. Hey, caller, you're on there.
The most annoying commercial ever is a J.G. Whitworth, where they're all singing opera style.
You just earwormed us all, man.
All right, thanks.
All right. Yeah, now I've got that stuck in my head. J.G. Wentworth.
877 cash now. Oh my God, I'll be singing it all day.
Good Lord. I'm gonna have to I've got what I call a palate cleanser.
Yeah.
If I want to get something stuck in my head, I'll go put in "Aha, Take on Me."
Yeah, that's a good one.
Take me on. I mean,
yeah.
And I'd rather have that stuck in my head all day than 1-800-CASH-NOW.
Right. No, that is a good one. That one gets stuck in my head too. So
yeah. So if I got to get a song stuck in my head, I like cheesy '80s stuff more so than
way better
than commercial jingles.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So transitioning here, we had some mass shootings over the weekend.
Yeah.
And it goes back to what I said a while back, and I asked you this, and you had a sufficient answer. I mean, you answered it the best you could.
Right.
But 23 people got shot outside of Milwaukee's Bucks game. 24, I think 3 died. That's just the headline read, 23 people shot outside basketball game, 3 died.
Right.
Because they don't feel like there wasn't a racial undertones to it. Basically, It was black folks shooting black folks.
Right.
Then Saturday, we have or was it Sunday? Saturday, we had the mass shooting in the grocery store in Buffalo. And, of course, first headline I get, mass shooting, grocery store. I was like, shooter must have been white.
Yeah.
And, of course, as it all comes out, it was. And I find that so dirty that we divide them up like that. And it's intentionally when they're all mass shootings. And here's my thing about it. Here's why I rail so much about this, Therese. It's because at the end of the year, when those crime stats are all configured up for when they're trying to take our gun rights away, they're all counted as mass shootings in the FBI statistics.
Yeah. Well, that's under the old FBI statistics. That's changing, actually, with the advent of NIBRs. People have been using it for years, but only recently did they demand that local agencies use NIBRs, because that way it feeds into.
Slow down. Tell it. What are you saying now? What's it called?
It's called NIBRs, National Incident Based Reporting System.
Okay.
Before that, they were using the Uniform Crime Report. So the UCR, as it was called, didn't have all the nuance that NIBRs has. So, for instance, you break into my house, you stab me with a knife, you set my house on fire, and you run from the cops as they arrive from the scene. That will go under a home invasion. Under NIBRs, that is a stabbing, that is a home invasion, that is running from the police. It's like each crime involved actually gets logged. So you look at something like UCR, and you're talking about how many rapes have we had? Well, you've got a list for rapes, but you don't know how many of these murders over here also involved rape, because, it got cataloged as a murder. So NIBRs brings in a much more specific type system. I don't know how it's fitting in with some of these, like, is it a mass shooting or is it, a shootout type situations? Yeah,
so I got some interesting statistics here broken down on the races and the committings of the mass shootings. Let's see if I can find my screenshot. Or the amount of mass shootings based on the rate. Oh, heck. I'll find it here in a second. But, it's just a shame that it gets reported differently. And I think that's where people like me, and when I call it out, people get butthurt about it. And I'm like, well, here it is. Okay. This is broken down by race and mass shootings. Asians commit 6.6% of the mass shootings, and they're 3.6% of the population. So they're basically account for double what their amount of population is. Blacks commit 17.4% of the mass shootings, and they account for 12.3% of the population. Hispanics, 8.3% of the mass shootings at 12.5% of the population. Native Americans, 2.5% at 1% of the population. Here's the big one, of course. Whites commit 54.5% of the shootings, but we make up 62.6% of the population.
Right.
And then other is 4.1 and 7.9. So the black at 17.4 and 12% of the population. And the way they count those, and the way I saw it counted at the end of the year 1 year, was anything that was more than one person shot is considered a mass shooting based on the FBI crime stats currently. Well, that's almost every shooting in Jackson is a mass shooting if we're using those statistics, but they don't get reported like that. It just grinds my gears that the word mass shooting is a buzzword, and it's intended to drive a narrative when they want to drive a narrative.
Well, and I think there's more to the definition, and if you're out there and you're in law enforcement and you're listening, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there's also something that goes along with like the manner of the shooting. You know, are you opening? Because, for instance, the Brookhaven shooting, we've called it a mass shooting, but I don't know if it falls under that category because 8 people died, but he was moving different locations.
I call that a killing spree.
Yeah, and that's what I call it, is a killing spree. But it has also been called a bunch, a mass shooting. So I would need to look that up to see what it is. But again, you have a situation where, is it I'm trying to kill you specifically, so I open fire in a club? Is that a mass shooting or is that a murder attempt? You know, and I hate that we have these buzzwords now because it muddies the water sometimes for what's the motive, what's going on here. If I'm in here trying to shoot the place up because this rival gang's leader took my girl, that's different than I'm walking up to a grocery store opening fire on all these people I've never met, you know?
Yeah, well, I saw where they're going to charge the guy with a hate crime, or they're charging him with a hate crime. But, I mean, you kill 8 people, you should get the death penalty. I mean, hate crime be damned. Mm-hmm. So I don't know that I guess they want to make that federal. I guess that would be the reason why.
Sure. Yeah.
But again, the hate crime laws, I have a lot of issues with those because I think anytime you commit a crime like that, that's hate.
Yeah, and I see that, but it is hate. To me, after having to cover many hate crimes through the year, if I walk in here and I'm like, Clay, I don't like men, I'm going to shoot you. You know, that should not be your problem. If I come in here and like, Clay, you stole my car, that'd be something else.
Have you ever seen a hate crime charged against somebody for attacking a straight white male?
I don't know, but that's worth research. But no, I doubt it. I mean, I'm sure that it's happened, but I don't know of any.
Because I believe the hate law crimes are firmly in place to punish straight white males, not to ever charge anybody with attacking. Because let's say it's religion falls under. If you attack somebody based on their religion, that is a hate crime, correct?
Right.
But I wonder if anybody's ever been charged for going in and killing white people in a church. Stuff of that nature.
Well, and I think
it just feels like it was definitely a law put in place to protect. This is no offense here, the homosexual community and the minority community. And it came from the gay guy that got killed in, what was it, Montana,
Matthew
Wyoming?
Bird or something. Yeah,
Matthew something. Isn't that where it started? Wasn't that the nexus of the hate
I believe
crimes?
so, and that's because that was a terrible situation. But the other thing is too, and I see we've got a caller, but let me go ahead and just point out that when I was in the FBI Citizens Academy, and I kind of asked it tongue-in-cheek, but I really meant it, that was during the time that they had Kick a Ginger Day in California. So all the little kids were going to school, and they would find the little redheads, and they would knock them down and kick them until they were done kicking them. And they called it Kick a Ginger Day, just like South Park. And so I raised my hand when the the SAC was talking. And I said, I know this sounds crazy, but would Kick a Ginger Day in California count as hate crimes? And it was like everybody stopped and looked at me like I was insane. I was like, as a redhead who's been picked on for being a redhead, I'd like to know, is that something that I could, that would be a hate crime if somebody attacked me because I have red hair? So
it's a very valid point. On the Matt Kiger Flowwood phone line. Hey, caller, you're on there.
Sounds good. Well, I get something there.
Hello. Hey, you're on the air.
Yes. Clay and Therese, one of the things that always gets me is whenever they have somebody who's white, especially if they have some kind of manifesto, it's always like a white supremacist, and they harp on it, and they harp on it, and they harp on it for like months on end. It's a case which to me was much more horrific, where that the black guy that ran through the parade, and it hardly even, gets mentioned a little bit. Anything that fits the narrative, they never leave it alone. Anything that doesn't fit the narrative, they forget the next day.
No, we brought up the Waukesha thing a little earlier, and you're 100% correct. It just kind of went away. I mean, at one point they were blaming it on the car. They said car runs through parade, not angry racist runs through parade. And I mean, I don't like any of this stuff, but I would like it to to get fair and equal reporting if we're gonna report about it. I mean, when I say that, I'm referring to the national stuff. It's clearly a narrative bent to make conservatives look bad and make white people look bad, and post George Floyd, you're not allowed to say anything to make black people look bad.
See, but I disagree about the narrative part. I don't think that it's about making white people or black people look bad. I think it's about politics. But I don't think there's as a member of the media, I've never had there be a thing where somebody said, let's don't make the white people look bad, or let's don't make the black people look bad,
Well, it's about we're talking about a greater Marxist takeover of the United States. And what Marxism has always done traditionally is they separate people. They try to divide people. It's not necessarily making white people look bad. It's dividing people. It's trying to get the minorities the majority to hate the minorities hate the majority. It's just kind of like the Cultural Revolution in China or the Bolshevik Revolution, the haves against the have-nots. You always have to try to find what groups or what cracks.
Yeah,
it's kind of like splitting a log. You throw your maul down first, not your maul, but split an axe. Then you drive a little bit of crack in your top of your log, and then that's what you aim for it's forevermore until the log busts.
Well, your analogy there, referring to it as majority versus or minority versus majority, is a much better way to say it than attack on white or black or whatever. I like that analogy a lot better. I'm going to start using that because that's what it is. But I guess I just use white as a catch-all for majority. But hey, brother, look, we got to take a break real quick, man. I appreciate you calling in this morning.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Have a blessed one. All right, you listen to the Clay Edwards Show. I'm joined by Therese Apel with darkhorsepressnow.com. We'll be right back on 103.9 WYAB. All right, welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. We ran over on our first segment a pretty good bit, so it's going to cut this one here short. So let's go straight to a caller that was on hold. Hey, caller, you're on there?
All right, so I don't remember what the name is, Nimbus, or what do you call the reporting
Nibers.
Okay, let me ask you this. Isn't that going to make the amount of rapes, stabbings, whatever, in the system just skyrocket? I mean, I'm glad they're getting reported that way, but if they weren't reported that way for all these years, and now all of a sudden every single crime is getting reported, isn't that going to make the stats just go out the roof?
Well, and that's why a lot of law enforcement agencies held off as long as they could. And I'm still not sure everyone's compliant. But yeah, the fact was, okay, well, if we do this, we've got a lot more home invasions. We've got a lot, things that were classified in the most violent category are now classified in every category because they are separate crimes. Yes, you broke into the house, but you also stabbed somebody and you also, did whatever. And so you knew they were all crimes. And now we have to report them all.
Yeah, I feel like it would make more sense to say crime A happened and this umbrella happened under it.
Yeah,
no, I get that, but what I'm saying though is everything is already very, very volatile right now.
Right.
So this sounds like a really bad time to just for the average person to just look at numbers and never question anything. For all the stats to just go out of the just astronomical because they're just going to look at it and go, okay, well, I guess it's popping off now. Let's just go ahead.
But if you have cancer, when's the right time to acknowledge it?
Yeah.
All
right, hey, brother, we got to take another break real quick, man. I appreciate you.
Yep.
All right. We got to make up that for the time we took on the first segment.
Right.
We'll be right back here on 103.9 WYAB. All right. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. We've had a caller that stayed on hold through that break.
Thank you, caller.
So on the Mack Hike Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Flowwood phone line. Caller, you're on there.
Yeah. How y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm not doing well because I hear you guys trying to make excuses, you throwing stats out there, but ever since, slavery of black people,
Is
white
this
folks
Thomas?
been killing black folks. Okay?
Thomas, I want to be your friend, but sometimes you just really just pick fights.
Let me explain something to you, Therese.
No, don't
White
explain
folks-
anything to me. You
white
pick
people
these
been
fights,
killing
but we
black
could be
people.
friends if you weren't always doing this.
See, that's what I'm trying to get you to see. White people been killing black people in the United States in slavery because of the color of their skin.
But you know what? I don't. And there's a whole lot of people that don't. And that's the thing. We're just trying to make it better, but as long as we're yelling at each other about it, we're not going to make it better. We're going to make it worse.
No. It's not. Ain't nobody yelling. I'm just calling you out on it.
Well, what are you calling me out on it for? I don't have anything to do with it.
I'm not calling you out on because you talking. I'm not even talking to you. I'm just saying.
You're not even talking to me. You're talking at me
Me.
me.
He's mansplaining to you right now.
I know.
Listen to what I'm saying. White people have been killing black people since they brought them over on the boat from Africa because of the color of their skin. And that's what that white guy in Buffalo did. So that makes it a tragedy.
All right, hey, Thomas, call back in the next hour. We got to go to our top of the hour news break. Thank you. We'll cut that one short. You listen to the Clay Edwards Show. We got a top of the hour news break. We'll get the schedule back right after this, and we'll be right back on 103.9 WYAB. Welcome back. We are live here on the Clay Edwards Show. And I'm joined in studio by Miss Therese Apel with darkhorsepressnow.com.
Hi, everybody.
And this segment is going to be brought to you by Kimberly Harrelson at Next Home Realty. You're listing, selling, buying a home. It's easier than you may think. In fact, it's just a click away when you work with Kimberly Harrelson at Next Home Realty. If you're looking to make a move to or from the Jackson area, then Kimberly Harrelson is the agent you'll want. Kimberly's won multiple awards over there with Next Home Realty, and she is a rock star. She likes rock music too, and that's important to me.
Yes,
you know, we can disagree on a lot of things, but you know what? If you like the same music I like, you know, you got a couple notches on the next person,
right? And
I love Kimberly to death. Her and her husband, great people. They've been supporters of the show for a while now, pushing almost a year. I can't believe it's been that long, but definitely support Kimberly. She supports us, and she supports us. She supports you,
right?
So keep that in mind. If it wasn't for these small business owners, we would not be able to get on here and do what we do. We don't take any money from the state or federal government, no subsidies, none of that. All of our advertising is small business. So make sure you support these folks.
Absolutely.
They allow us to get out here and speak truth without any puppet masters, per se. So find her online at KimberlySalesMS.com. That's KIMBERLEE salesms.com. Or just go to Facebook, type in Kimberly Harrelson at Next Home Realty, and all her information will pop up there. You give her a call and all that fun stuff. All right, Therese, I'll let you make the call here. Thomas is on hold, and he has been texting the whole time during the break, and he's got a bone to pick with you. Do you feel like picking a bone?
I mean, no, because he doesn't let me talk to him. He wants to yell the whole time. And when I try and say, you know, why don't we just be friends? He continues to, you know, apparently, and he says he's not blaming me for all the problems that he thinks he has. But he's attacking me for them. And same with you, but I know you guys like to fight. I don't want to fight with Thomas. My best friend just died. I've had a lot of horrible things go on this month. And you know what? That makes me not really have a lot of room for BS. So, no, I'm not doing that.
All right, Thomas.
And I hope you heard me, Thomas. We could be friends, but you're kind of a jerk sometimes.
The jury has spoken. We are cutting Thomas off. Bye. That was easy.
Yeah.
Hey, so something real quick. I got to say congratulations and best of luck and best wishes to all the graduating class at Hillcrest.
Yes.
This year. So, guys, my daughter graduated from there in 2020. That was an odd one, but I always give them a shout out for the fact they followed through and did a graduation. Mm-hmm. Great job over there. And
well, and like we said, if you've got someone you want to congratulate that goes to any high school, or you want to congratulate any high school graduation, then feel free to let us know. Yeah,
absolutely. Let's see here. People are texting in, and they are excited that Thomas got told no. Some people are suggesting that we ban him from the show, but I don't do that. I do not believe in banning or canceling people, but we're just going to mute him for the day.
Yeah, well, and I think the thing is, too, there are times and places to fight, and today is not my day, because I will say something that will get me FCC violated.
Therese is on the edge.
Yeah.
All right, so back to the news.
Yes, let's go to the news.
And by the news, I mean shenanigans on the Save Jackson Facebook page.
Oh, boy.
Hey, real quick before that, I want to tell you a documentary I watched last night on Netflix. My daughter twisted my arm enough to reactivate my Netflix account because I was boycotting them.
Yeah.
But I did need to watch the last 4, 5, 7 episodes of Ozark. I had to put a bow on that. And I've gotten about halfway through them. They seem pretty good so far. But there's a documentary called Our Father. Mm-hmm. It's about a what kind of doctor is it called? I can't get the word eludes me, and I can't make the hand gesture.
Fertility doctor.
Fertility doctor. About a fertility doctor that was fertilizing the women with his own seed when it was not supposed to be. There's obvious reason why you wouldn't want to do that. I think the most that you're allowed to do is like 3 from one person in an area, because you can't eventually have these people grow up to start dating, and the odds get exponentially higher when it's more than 3.
And not only that, how traumatic if you were dating somebody you really liked because everything clicked because you thought alike and you had all the same quirks, only to find out that's your brother.
Yeah, brother lover.
Right.
So we have a politician like that. She's part of the squad. I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but she's married to her brother. Very weird.
What?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No.
The one that the Muslim one of the squad.
What is the squad?
It's AOC.
This is national politics.
Yeah, national politics. Yeah. Sorry. Anyway, married to her brother. But anyway, it's called Our Father, and he ends up with like 80 kids they all found it through like 23andMe, of course. Yeah. And it's crazy. Dr. Phil did an episode about it, and they took him to court. And I don't want to ruin it for everybody. I just highly recommend watching it. It's good, especially if you like true crime kind of stuff. Right, true crime and creepy fertility doctors. Yeah, creepy fertility doctors, and it gets really weird. I just like to say, I don't want to give it away, but it's worth an hour and a half of your time. It's a one episode, hour and a half. Sure, one and done, and you're over with it. You don't have to commit a whole lot of time to it. So I would check that out. Also, so on the Save Jackson Facebook page, just something kind of funny here. When I was leaving here yesterday,
this is hilarious.
I was leaving here yesterday. I get this text, and I'd had enough. This has been going on for about 3 days now. Yeah. Look here, old people, learn how to work Facebook. Yeah. That's all I can say. Really, is learn how to work Facebook. Especially if you're on a desktop or laptop. Right. And you go to a Facebook business page, and Save Jackson is technically a business page. It's a like page. A lot of times the message box will automatically pop up, and it gives you some options for you to DM us. Mm-hmm. That is not us DMing you. Yes. So like these weird options will pop up like, I would like to know more about your background. I'd like to get to know you. Some weird stuff. I've never changed them. It just is what it is. Right. So whenever I get a message from people like that, I know they just hit one of the predisposed options. Right. Well, this lady went to go look at the Facebook page. Now, do you want me to read her text and you can read yours, and that way people can separate it? Yes. Okay. So it starts like this. No. Pause. Who are you? Pause. You went from a Jackson, Mississippi post to wanting to get to know me. Who are you and what is this about? Pause. Hello? Question mark. Who are you and what is this about? What is this about? What you sent me. What? A Jackson post wanting to know me. What? Oh no! I was no idea what you're talking about. And I have no idea what you're talking about or trying to do. Send me what you're talking about. No, go back and look. I don't have anything. It's something about a fighting and shooting in Jackson. Then you asked me how you can help me. Bye. I don't see anything. I'm not asking for you. I'm not asking you for nothing. I don't even know who you are. Let's see. It says this is where this. So that's the last thing she sent, and that was after 3 days of this. Right. So then I said, quit messaging us with this incoherent nonsense. Nobody wants to get to know you. Learn how Facebook works. And then she says, 3 birdie fingers, you MFer, you came for me, B-word. and then blocked me before I could reply. I mean, boy, that escalated quickly, didn't it? And I was sitting there, I was like, what in the world? So by the time I got home, I'm fuming about this. Right. You know, 'cause like I said, the first part of the message was actually Crystal replying to it. Yeah. And I jump in with, nobody wants to get to know you. Quit sending us incoherent nonsense. And she just went straight from little old lady to triple birds and UMFer. You came for me, B-word. No, it didn't. Like, you can clearly look at the top of the screenshot. She sent the first message. Yeah, she did. I'm looking at it. And it even says under that, replying to posts, or right. From posts. So she had hit message from a post anyway. Oh, Old people learn how Facebook works.
Yeah.
Save yourself so much drama.
Yeah.
You
But
know?
as we get older, I'm finding myself feeling like that. Like they'll send a new update to my phone and I'm like, I don't even know how this works, you know, and I'm like trying to figure it out. And then it's like, oh, hit the button that says make this work, you know?
Look, I'm the same way on TikTok. I'm like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
I feel like a pedophile even having a TikTok.
Yeah.
All right. We got a caller on the Matt Klike of Flowwood phone line. Hey, caller, you're on there.
Therese, you're a bimbo.
Okay. Well, cool.
Thomas had tried calling back 20 times, so I'm going to guess
That was probably his girlfriend or something.
interesting. You're a bimbo.
Well, I mean,
Well, at least they kept it clean.
right. I'm trying to think when I was a bimbo, but I mean, I probably had more fun than her. So there you have it.
So silly. That when arguments get come down to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We'll have to
Well, and the
reevaluate.
thing is, if you can't understand that someone doesn't want your drama and you can't give them space for that peace, you know, I mean, you're a selfish, terrible person. Like what we do in this world is we're all just trying to make it home and we're supposed to be walking each other together. And that's why I said we can be friends. But he doesn't want to. He wants to fight. And there's something sick about that. And I'm not into it and I'm not doing it with him.
Well, you know, the thing that
Or his girlfriend.
the thing that's strange is why do you listen to adversarial radio based upon what you believe in?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm glad that people do. I mean, I'm glad that people try to see the other side of a coin, and there's things that he and I agree on every now and then.
Well, I mean, I used to like him a lot, but then he started attacking me for crap I didn't do.
I mean, when you're talking about slavery, you lose me. I'm sorry. Pretty much when you start yapping about anything pre-August 17th, 1977, the day I was born, you lose me. I don't care. I mean, you've had, in my lifetime, you've had 44 years now to get your crap together. And, yeah, you hadn't done it, so whatever.
Yeah.
You know, you look at yourself in the mirror. That's what you can do to make your life better, not how I can make your life better.
Right. Well, and I do have to thank that nice lady for saying my name right.
Let's see here. He said, I was not even talking to her.
He was talking at me. I was trying to respond to him, and he was talking over me. Like, the thing is, there's basic human kindness and manners that we follow when we carry on a conversation. You talk, then I get to talk. Then you get to talk. Then I get to talk. So the fact is, until you can talk to me like a grown-up and not like you're attacking anybody, much less me, we're just not having a conversation. Now, I'm happy to talk to you when you want to have a conversation. But when it's a full-on double-barrel attack, I'm not doing it.
Agreed. All right, let's take a break real quick. When we come back, Jackson just hit 50 homicides. We're going to talk about it.
Wow.
On 103.9 WYAB. All right, welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. We're live here in the Clay Edwards Show studios. Hey, look, we are actually actively looking for a studio sponsor, so if that's something you may be interested in, the studio sponsorship is available for now. So get at me. I have a couple different packages available. But speaking of sponsors,
Yes.
let's one of our favorites is Take a Break Deliveries. And I've got a little Take a Break Deliveries story that I want to share here. But I need to pull my posts up, so y'all apologize to me. I'm king of unpreparedness. I got tagged.
I do that all the time.
I got tagged in a post, and I may have told this story yesterday, but I got tagged in a post. Sean McDaniels was McDaniel.
Mm-hmm.
Sean, I will eventually quit making your last name plural. Got behind a vehicle with a Clay Edwards Show bumper sticker.
Yes.
And he tagged me, and he goes, man, it's so cool to see other people supporting other people. Well, I
saw
recognize there's also a Take a Break delivery sticker. And
That's
I was like,
Michelle.
okay, it is. I was
Yeah.
going to say, I said, I'm pretty sure that's my favorite Take a Break deliveries driver. And I don't know where she got the sticker from, but that's awesome.
I think she made it. Oh, the Clay Edwards sticker.
The Clay
Okay.
Edwards one, yeah. So that's awesome. And just she's probably listening right now. My understanding is she's a fan of the show. So
Good.
look, thank you. And you are our, hands down, our favorite Take a Break driver. And that's saying something because all the Take a Break drivers are great.
They're all awesome. Yeah.
And look, they've expanded to the pretty much the entire central Mississippi area. You know, and like we had Keith on here, and he told us, look, if you go to order some food, And by the way, if you're new here, Take a Break Deliveries is a locally owned and veteran-owned food delivery service.
Right.
And they do not wait on the food. Dang it, I got it wrong again. They wait on the food. The food does not wait on them.
Right.
So, and what that means is, one of my favorite things about it is when they get an order in, the driver gets assigned one delivery at a time. They pick up your food and they take it to you. It's why it always gets there fresh and hot. Mm-hmm. Yours is not going to be the third or fourth order sitting on the back seat, getting to it when they get to it.
Yeah.
The driver then goes back and gets another order and takes theirs. So they must have a ton of drivers to make this work. But the food's always hot and fresh. Like, I get pizza. That's just typically what I get is pizza.
Yeah.
And my crust is never soggy. There's easy ways to tell if your pizza ain't right, and it's always right.
Well, and I love it, too, because, we've talked about the different times that they made sure that our orders were correct and things like that. And, it's nice to know that it's locally owned and operated. The drivers are people that are handpicked. They're very careful about who they hire. And not only that, they're dealing with a lot of local businesses that the bigger companies are not using.
Yeah.
So,
the greatest compliment I can give a food industry business is referring to them as the Chick-fil-A from a customer service standpoint. And Take a Break Deliveries is the Chick-fil-A of food delivery services.
Right.
And that should tell you all you need to know. So check them out, takeabreakdeliveries.com for lunch or dinner. Use the Clay 601 or Dark Horse code at checkout, and you'll get $4 off your first delivery.
That's right.
And that helps support us, and it helps save you $4.
Right.
And they're delivering beer and dry goods and all kind of stuff now.
Oh, they are loaded up.
He even went to the post office for somebody the other day.
Yeah, I saw that.
So pretty good stuff there. All right, we got a call on hold here on the Mac Hike of Flowwood Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram phone line. Caller, thank you for staying on hold. You're on there.
Good morning, everybody.
Hey, Jerry.
So I just want to say my experience with people, if you go to yelling or calling names when we're trying to have a discussion, that's because they're insecure in their what they think they believe. Deep down inside, they know it's a lie. They're browbeating you because they're trying to convince you to believe that lie. With people like that, if I try to have a discussion with somebody and they start yelling and screaming and calling names, I'm done with them at that point. Ever again, that's it. Boom.
Well, the funny thing is also to watch the phone light up after you tell them you're not going to have that conversation. Because since we ended that conversation, I've been called a liar, dumb AF, a Karen, a racist, dumb again, which is really funny because I don't get called dumb very often. And it's just because that's all they have left. I think it was Madeleine Albright that said, when they start calling you names and attacking you personally, it's because they've got nothing else.
Yep.
Well, let me jump in here real quick. I want to give an example of that where you talk about being racist. There was a post on WLBT one time. They were talking about hate crimes, and all I did was I asked a question. I'm like, if you kill somebody, isn't there already a degree of hate no matter what? So, what makes it any different than anything else? And I was attacked saying I was a racist, blah, blah, this, that. Now, that's their go-to when they know they don't have a leg to stand on the argument. That's what they're insecure. That's just the bottom line.
Yeah.
So,
well, and especially the funny thing to me is the things that are being said are things that literally don't fit, so it's not even offensive.
Yeah.
So.
Don't lose sleep on it, people. If anybody out there, if you disconnect from the conversation because all they're going to do is yell and scream and call names, don't lose any sleep over it. They are not worth your time. You argue with an idiot, you're going to lose because they're going to beat you with experience.
Exactly.
So,
I like that.
Yep.
Y'all have a good day.
You too.
Have a blessed one, Jerry. Thank you. All right, we got another caller here. I do not know who it is.
I can't wait.
All right, caller, you're on there.
Hey, Kim. I'm sorry, Clay.
Hey, look, man. People have called me much worse. I'll be Kim Wade for the day. How you doing?
Look, I got a question off of everything we're talking about this morning, but your ceramic coating at your detail shop, I know you probably shouldn't be talking about it on the radio or whatever.
I'm a paid advertiser here. I can talk about this.
Yep.
All right. My wife, I just bought her a new truck, and I'm wanting to get it ceramic coated. I get in touch with you.
Write this down. 601-260-0858.
0858.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Shoot me a text or give me a call.
That's all I needed, brother.
All right, brother.
Good.
I appreciate it. Have a blessed one.
All right, man.
You know, I mean, look, it's no secret my cell phone number is in the commercial.
Yeah. I was just like, wow, that's brave. Only I bet it's out there anyway.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's out there anyway. I mean, so
Yeah.
it is what it is. I mean, I've got between that and the Google line that we use for the text here, it all goes to my phone.
Which is steadily rolling. Somebody got triggered.
Thomas got triggered.
Apparently so.
That's funny.
Well, you know.
That is funny. He said you can't silence the truth.
Okay. Well, he's not on our show right now, is he?
The second I give my number up, it starts ringing.
Of course it does.
People, I'm on the radio. You know I'm on the radio. My mom's the worst. She always calls when we're on the air.
Yeah.
I was like, Mom, I'm on the radio.
Right. Well, and it's like all the important stuff I get on Tuesday is going to come through while I'm sitting in here, and I've got 2 hours left.
And so I've got this stalker that's been calling random people. Anytime I announce a guest in advance, they send them messages and be like, you're going to support that racist Clay Edwards. And what's funny is when they send that to my black guest, and the black guest's like, get out of here with that foolishness.
Yeah.
But they made the mistake of leaving their phone number with somebody yesterday. And I'm trying to decide exactly what I want to do with it, have some fun with it. But we'll call her by her first name, Dawn. Dawn,
Yes.
we're gonna have some fun with you. Just
And I'm not sure she's not somebody that I've met before because her name is very familiar.
yeah. But I actually it's actually a real person. I was able to confirm that. You know, I know some of her financial background. I know where she lives. I know where she works now. Now, none of that's relevant to this. I mean, I'm a good troll. You don't have to worry about anything unsafe, but I can be annoying. You know, I can definitely be annoying.
Well, I mean, there's plenty of, mailing lists to sign people up for and cat facts and things like that.
I mean, look, every website you go to now, you can put your phone number in to get a 5% discount. And then they text you every day.
Yeah.
I mean, you just go through there and put people's phone number in.
Oh, my gosh.
And get them discount codes sent every day.
There are things that I wish I had never, ever, 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 put my phone number or any other information into because I hear from them now all the time. And then you get these ones that are like there's someone named Prashana that used to text my phone all the time, and it would say, hey, boo, it's Prashana. Have you picked up, whatever the child's name or whatever like that? And I was just like, how many times do I have to tell you? There was a lady, I think, named Vivian that used to have my phone. So I would take her calls all the time. But I made friends with Prashana, so.
So the lady that lives across the street from me, without saying name, she's the highway patrolman. And I had her on the show recently. So I got her phone number so we could communicate about the show. Well, I put it in, and it's one of my other friends, a guy named Chad's old phone number. Mm-hmm. I was like, let me double check here, make sure I'm not doing something wrong. So I texted him, like, is this Chad or the other person?
Yeah. She's
like, no, it's me. It's his old number. She goes, you wouldn't believe some of the calls and texts I get.
Yep.
I was like, that's funny.
Well, and Kenny Stokes changed his number probably a couple of years back now, but I had his old number. And so one day I tried to reach him about a story, and the lady that answered is like, no, honey, this isn't his phone anymore. And I thought, oh man, can you imagine getting the city councilman's phone number, just because you went to the store to get a new phone?
Good Lord. Hey, speaking of Stokes, let's talk about that real quick.
Oh yeah.
And we are going to get to Jackson homicides, I promise, but I'm just never in a big rush to get to Jackson homicides. I ain't going nowhere.
Right.
So Stokes recently took a picture with the Better Men Society folks, and that is that's the group that the fella that
Bobby Davis.
Bobby Davis. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't remember the last name. Bobby Davis, that was killed allegedly by Napoleon Edwards Polo, and so he took a picture with the people from that group, and he's wearing this oversized jacket. It looks cartoonish. And a lot of people were going around. And DeKeither Stance made a good post saying, hey, most of y'all don't know that Stokes has been dealing with a health issue.
Yeah.
And lost almost 100 pounds in a pretty short amount of time. So, be careful about the way you approach it, long story short. And look, I shared it. I got a giggle out of it, but not because it was oversized. He's always wore big jackets.
Yeah.
It was because the sleeves were about a foot longer, and I don't care how much weight you lose, your arms don't get shorter.
Right, but your shoulders get less broad, and you lose weight in your back.
Valid point.
Yeah.
Valid point. Sick or not sick, it looked funny. You know, I mean, I can laugh without making fun of.
Yeah.
You know, but because it's 90 degrees outside, why are you wearing a jacket?
Well, and the thing is, he's always been someone that, you know, wore a jacket and wore one that was a little bit bigger. But, you know, the thing is, I had noticed that he was losing weight and that his clothes were getting more baggy. But I tend to be kind of attentive to those kind of things because my weight has fluctuated all throughout my life. You know, it's like when I get skinny, I can't throw away my fat clothes. And when I get bigger, I can't throw away my skinny clothes because I just don't know where I'm going to be. And so I noticed that about him, that, you know, he was starting to lose some weight.
Isn't it funny? There's no in between with that either. You either have skinny clothes or fat clothes, but there's no in between clothes.
There's no like good, healthy, you know, weight.
Like I'm probably in my in between clothes phase right now.
Right.
So I'm trying not to buy too much, and I'm definitely not throwing away my fat clothes.
Yeah. Well, and I'll give a plug. I'm working with Noom right now, and you may have seen the commercials and stuff. It's put together by psychologists that actually talk to you about like what in your brain, better way to put it, what your brain needs to know to help you make the right choices. So like, I know that if I drink my water during the day and I make choices of like, instead of a good example, instead of the raisins, eat the grapes because the grapes have more water and water is the key. So it tells you these things that you would have never known. Yes, a granola bar only has 100 calories, but, you know, and things like that. It's a great app. It's as good as it looks. So I just wanted to let everybody know.
N-U-M-E?
N-O-O-M.
Well, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, let's take a break real quick. Keep this thing on schedule so we're not running 2-minute segments. And when we come back, I promise, let's talk about Jackson homicides and the mayor's claims that Jackson is safe. And he does not want you quoting him out of context. I was listening to his interview yesterday when he said that nonsense, or his press conference, whatever you want to call it. So we'll play a clip of that, and we'll discuss the mayor and how safe Jackson is right here on the other side of the break with Therese Apel from darkhorsepressnow.com on the Clay Edwards Show on 103.9 WYAB. Back into the Clay Edwards Show. We're live here, and this segment is brought to you by we've already done Take a Break Deliveries. Complete Exteriors.
All right.
Roofing and Gutters.
I like those guys.
Great guys, man. Joe is a really cool cat. Really cool cat.
And if you go in there, you're going to meet my friend Eddie that I went to college with. And we've known each other since, 1997 maybe.
I almost stopped by there yesterday. I was kind of in a rush, and I was like, I could turn in real quick. But, I hate stopping in unannounced, too, and people are busy and stuff. But
they'd love for you to do that.
I may have some free time today, and I'll try to. Let's see here. So, Complete Exteriors, Roofing and Gutters in Pearl wants to help you determine who to use when you're seeking roof repair or work on your gutters. You need to choose a qualified, certified company that has a local brick and mortar building, a company that has been in business longer than 2 years and offers a warranty. Complete Exteriors has a 4.9 Google review and has been in business for over 16 years. Complete Exteriors, Roofing and Gutters can provide you with a professional and honest look at your roof and gutters. Complete Exteriors, quality without compromise. You can check them out online at CompleteExteriorsMS.com. And coming here in June, I believe, they are introducing solar shingles.
Yeah.
And the technology is phenomenal, very durable, and it's something they're very excited about. And you could tell when somebody's really excited about something, not just trying to sell you on it. Because I saw the twinkle in Joe's eyes, and he was in the studio.
Oh, yeah.
About how excited he was about this. And I was like, what, are they durable, man? Because, a storm comes through, something breaks. He's like, man, you can beat these things with a hammer. They're not breaking. And so we're going to dive a little more into that next time he's here. In the meanwhile, check them out. CompleteExteriorsMS.com. They're located right there on Highway 80 in Pearl, kind of on top of the hill across the street from Rick's Pro Truck, formerly Big Ten.
Sure.
All right, Therese.
Yes.
50 homicides in Jacktown.
Mm-hmm.
Mayor says it's safe, and then he's mad that people called him out on saying the city was safe. So what we're going to play here, this is from Jackson Jambalaya YouTube channel, so I'll credit him for the audio here. He is this is about 1 minute and 45 seconds long. This is the initial comment about the city being safe.
Okay.
That concludes the prepared remarks that I have. If you have any questions, I'm prepared to accept them. Yes, sir.
A couple things in relation to the mudbug incident. A number of witnesses have told us, it's going to be a while before they're comfortable going to an event here in the capital city. After seeing what transpired the other night, can you blame them?
No. I would, say to them that the city operates numerous events each year. and this is certainly a deviation from what we see. And so we continue to pray for those that are affected, both directly or even in the traumatic experience that many who witnessed it suffered from. But I believe that our city is safe. Most instances of violence that we see in our city are those that are interpersonal. They aren't random. And so that speaks to it as well. In this specific instance, the city of Jackson has no jurisdiction, and so I can't speak to the details of what happened on state property. But what I can say is that we see that this challenge that we've been talking about is a little more nuanced. We can't aim one arrow. We can't aim all arrows at one target. That there are layers, and we all have to work in combination with one another in order to reveal a safer environment for all residents and visitors alike. And so we look forward to doing that. But I would say that the evidence and the facts and the history demonstrate that this is a very rare occurrence for random people to be placed in the line of danger.
Okay, I have a lot of answers to that, or counter questions, or whatever.
I do too. Could I say this first?
Sure.
He loves to use the comment or the excuse. These are interpersonal issues.
Right.
Well, wouldn't that be not just a Jackson thing? Wouldn't that be crime across the country? If isn't most crime violent crime at the end of the day interpersonal?
Well, and I'll go ahead and I'll go ahead and say this, because since 2015 I have been writing about gangs across the state, especially Jackson. And whether you say it's a gang or it's the gang culture, it's been growing. When I first got here in 2010, I would go into the neighborhoods and I would interview the neighbors and everybody else around a homicide victim's home or wherever they were killed. It did not matter. I was not afraid of the streets. As a matter of fact, I loved them. And now it's gotten to a point where, no, it is not safe. And as someone who has not spent most of my career defending criminals and saying they didn't do what they're accused of doing, like a former defense attorney that may be the mayor right now, I'm going to tell you that, no, it's not safe. And he can say, well, this is a once in a, or this is a one-off or whatever. The point is, what is the trend, Mr. Mayor? Like, what is the trend here that we're seeing more and more violent things happen at large gatherings? Because it's happened at the state fair, and you can say, oh, state property. No, sir, you know what? That's still inside your city. That's still people that live in your city going there. And so the fact remains that
it's a culture within the city to think most of the people that are going there and doing those kind of shenanigans don't know that, oh yeah, we're getting one in on the state today. The city don't know about this. They have no clue that that's
well. And if they did know, they'd know that you don't mess with Hinds County. Yep. More than you don't mess with JPD as far as what kind of resources they have and that kind of thing. But the fact remains that maybe these are interpersonal things. Call them beefs, because that's what they are. This is a situation that is driven by the culture that says it's okay to shoot each other. But for the bystanders, for the people that are affected, the very people that he says he's praying for, yeah, it's not safe. You don't know. I mean, that bullet does not have a name on it. Dude wants to go shoot his buddy because he took his girl or whatever. That doesn't mean anything to the lady standing behind whose child gets shot.
Yeah, but how often do we wake up to these stories about a drive-by shooting where a kid was shot in their bed?
Oh yeah, it's been going on for years.
This isn't. I don't care. You can call it interpersonal all you want. I'm not. This is where they get me. This is where they like to call me a racist, because I'll say this out loud. There is a problem in the black culture in these inner cities. It is what it is. This isn't happening in the poor white communities at this clip. I'm sorry. That's just facts. There's something with the culture. I don't want to sound like old white man pointing at the clouds, but the rap music, the lifestyle, the culture, and I'm not throwing the baby out with the bathwater here. Black folks, if you know I'm not talking to you, I'm not talking to you. And the people I'm talking to probably aren't listening to this show. It is a culture issue of violence and drugs and a lack of respect for human life and understanding of consequences and repercussions.
And part of that is, and I'm not just going to limit it to the black culture, although that is where we see the most of it here in Jackson.
Well, yeah, that's wrong. Since I'm talking about Jackson, I have to mention that.
No, and I recognize that. But, the fact is, especially in the cities, but you also look at the crimes that are being committed by white gangs and by the white gang culture. And there are people who laugh when I say that, but they are very real.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, we've got Aryan Brotherhood, we've got Simon City Royals, we've got all kinds of different white gangs here, right? Especially, I mean, you can look in Madison and Rankin County and find them. So we can't say it's all Jackson doing bad things. But the fact is, the police department has been eroded. It has been absolutely decimated by these policies the mayor has put out there that the police chief is forced to enforce. This is the reason that multiple cities around the state have had major legal problems when their mayor got involved with the policing. And I know that he says, for the record, like you say in court for the record, that he's not doing that. But the fact is, if your boots are on the ground and you're talking to these officers and you're seeing the crime on the street and you're out there when the shooting is happening, I'm not going to listen to the words of someone who sits behind a desk and tries to tell me we're safe.
No, I mean, look, the guy was brought up in a house that was anti-police.
Right.
I don't think we can argue that. I mean, if you know any of the history about the Lumumba family, they were not a pro-police family. I'll go on record saying that. That's not an alleged. You know, look at the Republican New Africa stuff. Look at the shooting that happened back there in the 70s where the police officer lost his life. We can go on and on and on. It was Judge Skinner's dad, I believe, was killed by someone in that group. You know, there's rumors. You know, I'll let you go down that rabbit hole. Not you, but the people can go down that own rabbit hole, make their own decision. He is an anti-police mayor in control of a police department.
Yeah.
Brother, that is a conflict of interest if there ever was one.
Yeah.
Ever.
And it's the reason that his city is dying a slow and painful and very tragic death. You
know, and not to even mention, they have admitted to blowing the Siemens funds. That came out yesterday. Mm-hmm. Very detailed story about how all that went down. And these are all things that we've been telling y'all. Oh, you're not allowed to say that, Clay. You're not allowed to say that. You're a white guy. You ain't allowed to say that. You're not allowed to criticize. Well, I am.
Well, and I'm not even coming at it from a white and black standpoint. I'm coming at it from the perspective of a lifetime crime reporter who has been on those streets almost daily for many years. And granted, I'm not out there as much now, but you know what? Part of that is intentional because it has gotten worse because I know what it used to look like, you know? So, well, I mean, it's to me, it's not about anything, but is the question, is Jackson safe? My answer is it's getting worse. Watch the trends.
Can somebody name me one good thing this administration, and I could go back to several, but particularly this one, has done positive for the city? Everything seems to be a stripping of its resources through contracts, consulting firms, lawsuits that we used outside law firms when we could have used the city council, so on and so forth. And there's nothing left. I don't know where rock bottom is, if this ain't it, but we're steadily finding new and creative ways to get there. All right, you're listening to The Clay Edwards Show. We're going to come back, land the plane for the day. I'm joined by Therese Apel with darkhorsepressnow.com. And we'll be right back on 103.9 WYAB. Here at The Clay Edwards Show, I will be the bad guy. I do not care. I will be the heel. I will be 1980s Ric Flair. I will. You can love to hate me.
Right. And I do feel like for those of you that know me and know that I'm not usually all fire and brimstone, I am in a weird emotional place. It's been a long couple of weeks for me. And as you might have heard at the beginning of the show, my best friend died last week. So we just had the funeral yesterday. So I'm a little more raw than usual, and I apologize if that makes you sad. I'm sad too. So there you go.
Yes. We're very sad. And Thomas sent in one last text and says that, and his memory is like a cloud server. I don't even know.
Oh my God, I don't care.
Does that mean it retains everything?
Probably.
There's plenty of space.
Like, what did we do to him besides be like, you don't get to have your say today because you're being mean?
I don't know. Therese, thank you for coming in today.
Yes, no problem.
Really appreciate it, and keeping you in our prayers and keeping your friends' family in our prayers.
Thank you.
Mike Madison is up next, followed by Dana, then Jameson, and then Kim at 4 o'clock. Check out the podcast, ClayEdwardsShow.com, all major podcasting platforms, and I will see y'all back here tomorrow morning. Peace.
Thanks for listening. Tune in tomorrow at 7 a.m. as The Clay Edwards Show discusses all that is going on in and around the city of Jackson.
This concludes our broadcast day.
Right here on 103.9 WYAB.